And good evening once again. Welcome to Branco Broadcast. My name is Bob Branco. We're very pleased this evening to have a teacher of the visually impaired to talk to us, Jared Kitchen. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you, and then you can talk about what you are doing, and then we'll ask you questions when you're done. Welcome to the show there, Jared.
Thank you very much, Bob, and just want to say thanks for having me on. And special thanks to Steve for connecting us. Thankful to be able to talk to you guys tonight. So as Bob said, I am a teacher of students with vision impairments. I am in my second year of full-time teaching. I did a little paraprofessional work before that with a blind student for a couple months. So I am legally blind myself. I'm about 2,200, so just at the cutoff line of the definition of legal blindness. And I was born that way. I have a disorder called optic nerve atrophy. I also have a brother who has the same diagnosis. And he was diagnosed, he's 4 years older than me. And what I just wanted to say was he was diagnosed while he was in school, and then when they found out that he had something, they checked me, and sure enough, I had it as well. And my mother said something to the effect of, it was like being dropped on another planet because it was such a experience she didn't know anything about. And later, she ended up getting her master's in low vision rehabilitation, just because she wanted to learn more and be able to help. And my oldest sister, she also got her undergrad in vision studies and is now a teacher of the visually impaired too. So I have a lot of support. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided I was working in publishing for the company Pearson. They do educational textbooks, and I decided I wanted to make a career change. So a lot of people had encouraged me to become a teacher, and I looked into becoming a regular classroom teacher. But after taking a couple courses, I decided it wasn't for me. And then I decided to go to UMass to become a teacher of the visually impaired. So I finished my degree a couple of years ago, and I was teaching for the Carroll Center last year. And right now I am contracted through UMass Boston, and I'm working at an inclusion school in the Boston Public School District. And it's been a really interesting experience. I've worked with students who are completely blind to students who have better vision than myself. And I can say that my experience growing up, I had a teacher of the visually impaired pretty much when I was in elementary school, maybe once or twice a month, but I didn't really have one in middle school or high school. So I don't really remember too much of my time with those teachers, but I think that my experience being a visually impaired student is helping me kind of understand a little bit more of what the student is going through. Of course, every student is different and has different needs. And one of my goals teaching is to learn from them and be able to pass that on to other students and to myself. I think I'm learning just as much from my students as hopefully they're learning from me. So it's a give and take, and it's been an interesting experience so far. I'm learning a lot about new technology that's available. I know somebody on the phone listening mentioned JAWS, and I've had to really kind of hone in on my JAWS skills so I could teach that to a senior this year who's going to be going to college next year. I'm a Zoom text user myself, so that's been interesting because there's a student at my school who's learning it. I'm not actually teaching her. There's another teacher teaching her, and they come to me often and ask me how to do things. So it's been helpful to be a user of these technologies. I also have a CCTV at home that I use, and I use a Ruby if you guys know what that is, or it's handheld CCTV, I guess is how it would be described. So right now I'm teaching two students one student to read Braille. The other one is semi-proficient in Braille. And the other one I'm teaching, who he actually can't. He's in fifth grade and he's got some other issues and he's not able to actually read. So I'm kind of teaching him how to read and read Braille. And that's been a fascinating experience. And I actually use a smart Brailler. I don't know if anybody uses that, but having the audio feedback for some of these kids was really helpful for them to be motivated and to get kind of the approval that they are looking for when they're learning the different contractions and that kind of thing. So I actually got to work at the Carroll Center too in the rehab program as a overnight shift supervisor, and that's how I met Steve while he was at the program, and many other people that I learned a lot from, and that was a really great experience for me while I was going to school, to be able to kind of have worked with some people who are visually impaired and kind of be able to learn from them and figure out what they were looking for and what they needed. I'm planning on going back to school in the summer to get my orientation and mobility certification, so I could potentially do some teaching of mobility. So I guess that's kind of how I got involved and where I'm at right now with things. And I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know it will be very interesting. It's a very small field, so you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to there's just a lot of great opportunities, I think. I've got to do some summer camps with kids through the Carroll Center and do things like kayaking and going on hikes and just doing a lot of different activities, which has been a lot of fun to see. I think it's a really cool experience when kids who are visually impaired, and they might be the only visually impaired kid in their school, they get together and meet other visually impaired students, and they can relate to one another. And it's really fun to see them and see them go out into the community and try new things. And I'm always happy to be part of that. And I look forward to hopefully doing some more of that along the way. So I guess that's really about it. I don't know if you want me to talk about anything specific or if there's certain questions that I can answer.
I have a question off the top, Jared. Based on your presentation, it occurs to me that you don't teach a class, that you teach private lessons because everybody's in different grades. Am I correct? And also, what subjects do you teach specifically?
Right. That's a good question. So I go in and the school district has me come in and work with their students throughout the day, depending on what their need is. So I might see a student for an hour a week. So the plan would be to meet them during a study hall or an elective class that might not be as big a burden if they were missing, such as math.
So it's basically freelance.
Well, I'm contracted by UMass Boston. So there are people who do it freelance, but some districts have their own teacher of the visually impaired. So they will work. So my sister, for instance, works for the town of Auburn, and they might have 5 students that she sees on a regular basis. So she's an employee of Auburn, and she's just like a specialized teacher. And the subjects that we end up teaching it's called the expanded core curriculum. And that would be things like life skills, Braille, mobility, social skills, self-advocacy skills, college readiness if they're in high school, And then the other thing is what we do is, sorry, I guess I didn't fully explain the role, but we also, not only do we work with the student, but we really also support the teachers, because this might be their first time working with a visually impaired student, and they might not quite know how to navigate that. So we'll come in and maybe we'll modify some of the curriculum so the students can access it. And we might work with the teachers on thinking of maybe tactile ways of presenting. For instance, the student that I'm working with now is learning about fractions, and we're trying to come up with different tactile ways to show that, 1/2 is equal to 2/4, or and really trying to use different, different modifications to help the student. And another aspect of the job is also kind of supporting the parents who also might, this is a new thing for them, having a child with a vision impairment in school, and we try to, be there for them and help them, support them through how they can work with their kids at home and how they can just be confident that the student is getting a good education while they're in school. So those are some of the different things.
Before I turn it over to others, I just have one more question to ask you and to run by you. I am a member of the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind Consumer Advisory Council here in Region 5. And during one of our meetings, it was brought to our attention that the federal government only allows one school in Massachusetts to produce mobility instructors through training. Would that be UMass Boston, if that's true?
UMass Boston is where people go, yeah. I'm not sure if there's any other schools.
There seems to be speculation that they are the only school in Massachusetts that is allowed to teach potential teachers of mobility.
Okay. I don't know about the...
Because of the federal funding, that's why.
Yeah. They do get a grant from the state to... so the courses for the students are extremely cheap. So and then you end up having to work in the state for a certain amount of time to pay off the grant. But that would make sense to me. And really, there are not that many universities in the country that specialize in teachers of the visually impaired and mobility. I can think of maybe five off the top of my head. So UMass is definitely one of the leading ones, I would say.
Very good. Yes, I have some questions for you, Jared.
Sure.
Are you familiar with Perkins and the resources they have for visually impaired students in and around the Boston area?
I am, yes. So I actually live in Boston, and so I'm pretty familiar. I've actually worked in their outreach program at Perkins, so I've been connected with some people there, and the teachers in Boston end up doing professional development at Perkins, so we know a little bit. I mean, it would be great to continue to learn more because I know they have so many resources. I know the Perkins Library, BARD, and
yes, because what I was going to say is that they have developed a program for newly blinded children that work with parents to not do as much sheltering of a blind child and allow a blind child to develop normally.
Yeah.
They all, like you were saying, they have a lot of outreach. They work with a lot of the guidance departments and resource teachers in and around Boston, and are there as a resource as well for young blind students going on to university. The other thing that by the way, I'm an instructor myself. I've been teaching for just about 50 years. I'm totally blind. I teach university, high school, and middle school here in Vermont. Are you also familiar with Killington Mountain? They have an adaptive sports program.
So I have one of my students did do the adaptive skiing program. I don't know through Perkins, so I'm not sure if that's Washington Mountain one?
No, it's probably not the same one, but they do have adaptive ski for downhill and cross country, and even through all 4 seasons, they have trips that trained people will take them on hikes up and down the mountain. They'll go camping, kayaking, canoeing, anything students, luge. They even have people from the U.S. ski team that will work with luge and various and sundry other things. There's also skydiving for blind individuals that would like to do it, rafting, all kinds of other programs, and it's a great resource. I'm a blind skydiver myself, and I recommend it to any.
Take a job. That's great. I don't think I'll be doing that, but
don't recommend to anybody.
I don't think I'll do that.
I wouldn't do that. I'm afraid.
So, well, I applaud you. I'm glad you're doing that kind of work. I teach a normal classroom, but from time to time I get all disabilities coming through, from deaf to physically impaired, wheelchair, blind, everything. So I too have a master's in special ed, and I'm now working on a second master's in special ed, but I also have a teaching degree plus my PhD in my specialized chosen field. So you're never through with your education. So
it feels that way, that's for sure. And
so good luck to you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jared, you sound like a very interesting young man, and looks like that you are a good teacher. Where did you go to school yourself at university level?
Where did I go to undergrad?
Yes.
I went to a school called Gordon College. It's in the North Shore, near Salem, I guess.
So what did you study undergraduate?
In my undergrad, I did communication.
Great.
So I kind of wanted to, I kind of started out thinking more along the lines of journalism and that kind of a field, and went into publishing, but kind of didn't feel like I was necessarily using some of my gifts, and I thought maybe teaching might be a better place. So, and I think one thing I just wanted to say that I think it was Alan brought up is kind of how one thing that I'm trying to learn how to do is how to teach the students how to not do everything for them, because that's a lot of times what happens when the teacher leaves the classroom, that everybody kind of does everything for them. The teacher with visually impaired leaves, and I'm trying to reinforce, like, these kids need to be able to learn how to, if they drop something, find it, or just kind of, sometimes you are going to bump into walls if you're not using your cane properly, and things like that. So that's, I think.
How long ago were you teaching at the Carroll Center?
So I was working there last year as a itinerant teacher. So I was working in the district in Lexington.
Oh. And do you like working at the Carroll Center?
Yeah, it's a great place. I think they are a great organization. They've got their kind of hands in everything, which I think is great, to have the rehab program for adults and the education side for students, student aged. They do the K9 walk, and it seems like they've got a lot of great, a lot of technology stuff. I think they just have a really great finger on the pulse of what's going on in the vision world, I would say.
Absolutely. And how old are you, Jared?
I am 35.
Oh, okay, great. Now, didn't you think that Boston College also one of the great school for orientation mobility? Because for years and years, Boston College was the leading authority.
So the program was at Boston College, and then it ended up moving to UMass Boston at some point. I don't know when, but a lot of my teachers, or a lot of my mentors in the field, got their degrees at Boston College, and at some point it moved to UMass Boston.
Oh, that's what it is. Well, you sound like a very interesting fellow, and obviously a good teacher, so I wish you good luck. You explained it very well. Sure.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Jeff, you're next.
Okay, Jared, before it closed, did you ever tour the Fernald, what used to be the Waltree Fernald State School in Waltham?
I have never been there. I think I know what you're talking about, but I had never been there, no.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, I have a question, Bob.
All right, Don.
Yeah, okay, this is Don from Worcester, Mass.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Right, Central Mass. You mentioned a smart Brailler. Is that one that you talked to?
It talks
how
to
does
you.
that work?
So it looks like a regular Perkins Brailler, but it actually has a little screen on it. So if the student is typing, the teacher can see what they're actually typing. It will convert it into print.
See. Oh, okay.
And it will speak what you're typing too.
Okay, because I've never seen one.
Okay,
that's why I ask.
Yeah.
How much do they cost, Jared?
Sorry?
How much
do they cost?
A smart Brailler cost in case someone wants to buy one?
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of money. We get
over 1,000
federal quota, so
that's a good guess.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think that's a little high, but
yeah.
Here's a good segue into another question that I just thought about, Jared. Being that you're in this profession, what are your thoughts about the high cost of adaptive products for blind people?
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, I think, when we want to get certain products for a student that's really going to benefit them, and the cost is just too much. I know there are some companies that are working to really make cheaper things, but there's the cameras and all the technology that goes in. It's just a lot of money. Now, there's something, I think it's called the Prodigy it either came out last year or it's coming out. Yeah, it's like a tablet. It's like a big tablet, and it also kind of acts as a CCTV and also like a distance. It can also do distance. So it's a really neat product, and it is cheaper. And students, if they're part of I think they have to be part of the Commission for the Blind, but they can get federal quota money, which each student has a certain amount of money that we can order materials for them for. And sometimes you can get some technology that way. But if you were to have to get them with your own money, I do feel that pain. I was able to get my CCTV through the commission, but I know that a lot of these things do cost a lot of money.
Yeah, Jared, I thought it was great at the Carroll Center when you showed me the North End and all that, and started to teach me grade 2 Braille. And hey, who knows, after you get your mobility, we need a mobility instructor in Region 5, so it'll be a pleasure to work with you in the future. Yeah, so I mean, congratulations. I think it's wonderful that you went into that, and we kind of were. I was leaving the Carroll Center, and you were going into special ed. It was just so awesome.
Yeah. It's been a good road, I would say. So.
Jared, one more question.
Sure.
I know a friend of mine who's an engineer told me a couple of months ago, and he said that there are being tested on some of the computers, and they're going to come up with pretty soon. Will be a talking computer that with the voice command, you can do just about anything. You don't even have to type or go. What do you know about that?
Well, I don't know all that much. The type of technology that I would teach in that realm would be like probably what you already know, like voiceover and for the Apple products. But I will say that we at MIT in particular, there's so much research going on for technology for visually impaired that every time a friend will send me an article or something about something they heard about and that people are doing, and it's just incredible. There's, things that connect to your finger and you can touch like a wall that has print on it, and it will read what it says. And it's just there's just so much that they're working on right now that is really exciting to see all the different.
Well, the only thing is, Jared, as fabulous as this technology is, and we hear about it every day, the Google glasses, the mobility shoes, all these wonderful things that are supposed to make life more easy for the blind, it costs an arm and a leg. The blind can't buy it.
That's true.
That's true.
There is there's a disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, Jared. Were you always 2200? And do they think your vision's going to get worse? Because you said atrophy usually means, to me, it sounds like it's going to get worse, but I don't know anything about your condition.
So, mine shouldn't get any worse because it pretty much. I actually had an interesting conversation. I had an eye appointment on Saturday, and the doctor was telling me that usually optic nerve atrophy really shows up at age 3. So I had not known that. So after that, it's pretty much stable from the time that it happens. Because
now, when you went through college, how much difficulty did you have with the visual, presentations and all that? That's kind of rough, huh?
Sure. I think the classes that I struggle with most were math and science.
Oh yeah.
Because see the board and really explaining the process of how to do certain formulas and things visually. And I'm also a visual learner, so it was definitely.
Jared, I have optic atrophy also, and I had partial sight from birth till about age 25, and then over a 10-year period, I lost most, if not all, of my remaining sight, and it's from optic atrophy.
Really?
Karen, I think you had a question.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I have a question. And it might not be something that your school is thinking about, but I know we've all been discussing the fact that, all this technology costs money and everything. Are blind students ever being taught low-tech skills such as either using a regular Perkins Brailler or even, I don't know, I know they still make them, so slates and styluses, because I use one, and I find it real handy.
Wow. Yes. At UMass, we were taught how to use a slate and stylus. Now, I don't know.
I'm being encouraged to use that because, even if they just take notes or something, they're light and they even have notebooks.
That's true.
Paper in them.
Yeah. So we definitely, like the 2 students that I'm teaching Braille now, I use a Perkins Brailler with them. So those are definitely still popular. Slate and stylus is, you really have to know Braille well, I think, to be able to use one of those.
Yep. Yeah, that you do. But back in the days before they had Braillers, that's all blind students had, I think, was the slate and stylus at one time.
Yeah, that's right.
And a very old style Brailler.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Steve? No, not Steve. Jared.
Yes.
Were you born from Boston originally, or were you from? Where were you from originally?
I was actually born in Maine. Although
you were born in Maine?
When I was 3.
What part of Maine? What part of Maine?
Portland. I was born in Portland.
I have a stepdaughter who lives in northern Maine.
I was born in Maine too.
Okay, my mother's side of the family lives north of Bangor still, but when I was about 3, we moved to Pennsylvania, and I ended up. And there was a really great school in Philadelphia, the
Overbrook, yes.
School of
What part of Pennsylvania did you live?
Quakertown area. Quakertown.
Oh yeah, say Allentown. It's closer to Allentown than it is to Philadelphia.
That's right. Yep.
Wow.
So then I ended up going to high school in New Jersey. So.
Oh, okay. Now, when you did your communications, where did you go to school for that? So I take it you did that from
college.
Oh, okay. So you did that for a long time, right? The publishing stuff and the,
I kind of did different jobs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, great.
Jared, this is Lauren. What part of New Jersey did you go to school? Because that's where I am.
Oh, really? So I was from North Jersey.
Okay.
Outside of Patterson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, near Wayne. I don't know if... Where are you from in there?
I am from a little town called Milltown that's right outside New Brunswick, and then I moved down to South Brunswick, and then I'm now in Lawrenceville, which is right between Princeton and Trenton.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, I've got one more question.
Sure.
I know you help kids learn Braille. Do you ever help the blind kids with their math skills at all?
Yep. That's another thing. I try to focus on different. The abacus. We use the abacus to.
Oh, that's a great tool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you use that. Yeah.
Yeah, and abacus
great
is always
learning math. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of the American Printing House for the Blind makes a lot of interesting educational material that helps teach different math skills in pretty much every subject. So I end up using a lot of their material.
Yeah, we learned the abacus at Perkins, too.
Oh, yeah.
We learned it. We finally learned it because it was developed in the early 60s. And we finally learned how to use it, and I finally got the hang of it.
I still have an old abacus laying around.
I have one somewhere. I know where it is, but I've got one somewhere.
I still have an abacus. Yeah, I still have an abacus as well.
I made one in woodshop, too, so that was cool.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and
it was great.
I don't know if you people know this, but there's a trick that I learned at Perkins. If the beads get slippery, which sometimes they do, and they, they slide too easily, okay? I was taught that you submerge your abacus in water.
Really?
For a short time, and then you take it out, and then it, eventually dries. Of course.
I'll let you know how that works
Anything
out.
that's slippery, if you put it in water, that neutralizes the, what's the word I want to use?
That belt material.
Yeah.
But what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to make the beads stiffer. Which is better,
Hard to move up and
I've heard of that.
Right.
That's right.
Thank you.
I don't think it does any damage to it. I don't think it does.
It dries like that.
Man. One time I accidentally, abacus fell into the toilet, then I got it out.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's too much.
Jeffrey, you're starting to sound like Glenn.
Or Alan.
No, but I mean, this was accidentally.
Yeah.
I never
but Glenn was always talking about that.
No, but I never mentioned this because I never mentioned to anyone.
Things can happen by accident.
Now you're going to go viral.
Oh, yeah.
People drop their cell phones in the toilet, too.
Yep. Sarah, do you have any aspirations for yourself moving forward?
Aspirations. That's a good question. I think my aspirations are to continue to, serve the population that I feel connected to and part of a community. And I think it would be, continue to teach, but also to listen to you guys who are saying things like technology is too expensive and try to make sure that the right people hear this information and that we can, everybody's communicating in a way that is helpful instead of people's here.
How do we get the right people to listen? I mean, on one hand, Jared, everybody's promoting this wonderful stuff, this beautiful technology, like I brought up the Google glasses and these shoes with GPSs on them to help you with mobility. All these are wonderful items. It's going to make the lives of the blind a whole lot easier. Yeah, but folks, when you guys, and I don't mean you guys, but people in general promote these products, when they promote, they say everything but the price. Because I think deep down they know what it would mean if the price came out. But what they don't understand is the price will come out eventually.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but look at smartphones are getting cheaper, and it is the price is a big problem though, especially with new stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even a Brailler is still expensive.
They're ridiculously expensive. But you can get them repaired in Massachusetts for free.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Braille writers. You can get them repaired free in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
You send them to the library, they'll send you a loaner, and you get your Braille back.
Yeah.
They can last a lifetime once you got them.
It's like that if you're out of state and you have to send it to Perkins Products, it can cost you 100%.
Yeah.
Just don't move to Rhode Island. Yeah.
Anywhere but Massachusetts, like unless there's somebody, like if I need mine, I could send mine to the New Mexico School for the Blind at no cost. It's like,
you've got an Ackley product that repairs Brailles. I think that's in Ohio.
Iowa. No, Ackley's in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And I think he went out of business, or it was a selective doctor in Baltimore.
Recently, they just listed it they listed places that did Braille, and Ackley was still listed.
Yeah, because the selective doctor is out of business.
So, Jared.
That's still listed, Jeff.
Do you hear from anyone else?
There no more.
Center with us, guys?
Jared. Let's get back to Jared. He's our guest. Steve, you have a question for Jared.
I'm just wondering if you...
Sorry about that.
If you hear from any other people besides me in emails from the Carroll Center when we were there, like whoever, all the people that were there with us.
Trying to think. Not really.
Me neither. So it's a shame, but we can all get together someday and have a reunion, I guess.
There you go. I think it sounds like, I think sometimes the Commission for the Blind is a good place to learn about. It'd be nice if we could all figure out how to work. It sounds like some of you guys work there, so in getting technology cheaper and that kind of thing. I don't know if they have programs for adults or how that works.
Well, they have some work programs.
Charities across Massachusetts that can help.
Yeah.
In this region, we have the Share Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay.
They make computers for people with physical disabilities.
In the Worcester region, they have Memorial Foundation for the Blind, and they give money to people to get computers. It's charitable donation.
And the Massachusetts Association for the Blind too.
They're good too. They have a lot of stuff going on with charitable, helping people out. So there are options, but it's still people don't have to find out about them. So
sure.
Anyone else? Well, Jared, I guess there are no more questions. We really want to thank you for coming on the program and telling us about your experience as a teacher.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it was a pleasure to talk to you all.
And we hope to have you back on at another time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Jared, it was very interesting.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Likewise.
And the best of luck in the future.
Absolutely.
And good luck with your teaching.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, take care.